Hello. I hope everyone's being safe during this time. Stay home, stay healthy, wash your hands, all that stuff, all that jazz. Today I'm gonna be talking about gun control and why it is good the way it is right now. It should not be changed, and guns should be allowed in the hands of the American citizens. That is what I believe in, and that is what I'm going to try and convince you to believe too. So here I go. The most common weapon that people talk about whenever they talk about gun control is the AR-15. Most people believe the AR stands for assault rifle. It does not. It stands for Armalite, which is the manufacturer of the gun and the designer of the weapon. And also, it is not a military grade weapon. It may look like one because of its dark color and its design, but its design is meant to appeal to people because it looks good. It looks simple and it's really lightweight. It has metal manufacturing and plastic. So the barrel, there's a little thing that goes around the barrel. It's grip. It's plastic. It's made out of plastic. Normally, you can get add-ons that make it metal, make it heavier, but a normal AR-15 weighs around 5 pounds, somewhere in that range, but you can make it heavier, obviously. It comes in the 5.56 munition. That is the round that it shoots, also known as a 223, which is actually a pretty crappy round if you were to think about it. There are many handguns out there that are a lot more powerful than that. And example, the 40 caliber pistol, a lot more powerful. So you take that, it's a .40. That's how many millimeters it is, or that's how many centimeters it is. And then you take the .223, and that's how many centimeters that bullet is. It's a lot less powerful and a lot less deadly. So whenever the bullet is designed to break up, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's like, it's designed to hit the person. If you're shooting at someone, designed to hit them, and then the bullet normally just breaks. It breaks and spreads in their body. It's designed not to be able to, it depends on what range you're shooting someone from, but if you're shooting them from a decent distance, you're going to be hitting someone and it's going to stick inside their body. It's normally not going to come out the backside. But if you're up close, most likely with that amount of power, it would most likely go through their body. And it's basically meant to be a self-defense weapon and a fun gun to shoot at the range. It does have a 30-round capacity mag that it can come with, but so do a lot of other rifles that nobody talks about. Yeah. And I have some statistics right here. So most people talk about they're talking about rifles and how they're so dangerous. Yes, they're extremely dangerous, but most people who acquire a weapon and they commit a murder or commit a crime with it, it is normally stolen or acquired illegally. It is rarely ever acquired normally, or if it is, they normally file off the serial numbers so it can't be traced back to them, which is one of the reasons why the serial number is placed on the side of the weapon and then it gets registered to your name. Whenever you go and buy the weapon, the serial number of the weapon that the gun store gives you gets put into an FBI database, and it is filed under your name. So if that weapon were to come up in a crime, first person they would go to, you. They would go to your house. They would check you. They would ask you if you had the gun. Most likely they would arrest you first because they would think you're armed and dangerous. They'd most likely arrest you, take you in for questioning, all that stuff, all that jazz. It's trying to buy a gun is very much a hassle because you have to go through a very thorough background check. You can buy you can buy build kits to build a gun. You can buy everything except for the lower. So there's an upper body to a gun and a lower body. The lower body is the part that holds the trigger, the ammunition, all that stuff. It's basically the thing that makes the gun shoot. So if you don't have a lower and you have an upper, there's no way you can shoot the gun. It is basically just plastic bat. It's nothing. So you can buy the build kit and you could just get the upper, but then you'd have to go through a background check to get the lower mod to the body. The background check is basically filling out a bunch of information at the gun store. Fill out your serial number or social security number, sorry. What gun you're trying to buy. You need your ID. You need a bunch of different things. I know it's different in every single state, but in the state of South Carolina right now, it is the age of 18. You can buy rifles and shotguns and all of the ammunition you want, but you are not allowed to purchase a handgun until the age of 21. Which, you want to know the reason behind that is because the handguns, they're most likely used in a crime. A study done by the Department of Justice in the prison system, they did a survey of a bunch of inmates that have committed crimes with handguns. And basically, committed crimes with a gun. Most likely, they would say, "Yes, I just wanted something concealable. It's a lot easier to hide and a lot easier to work with. Holding a rifle it's a lot more to deal with, because you got to think so the rifle's probably goes from my shoulder to about maybe out there, most rifles, and so you got to think, you got to completely turn around, all that stuff. It's just more of a hassle to do that. While it does have the capacity to hold 30 rounds, so does a normal pistol. You can get a different mag, and you can, it's a mag, oh no, it's a clip, sorry. It's a clip, so a pistol has a clip, and rifles have magazines. So you can get a different clip that can hold, I think there's a bunch of different clips that can hold an obscene amount of rounds. I think 30 rounds is honestly enough for me. I have shotgun before. I love shooting guns. It's a lot of fun. I hunt. So, yeah, all that stuff. Okay, so back to my point. Yeah, it's just a lot harder to control, and you gotta think, if someone's in a building, they're going around a corner. You gotta maneuver around that corner, so you gotta turn your whole entire body around that corner. While with a pistol, you could just peek out like that. It's a lot easier. And the pistol can do a lot more damage than an AR-15 normally can. The 9mm, it is actually, I would say it's not a more powerful, but it's definitely a more reliable. And in the end game, yeah, it's probably a more self-defensible weapon, just because it's really reliable. That is what the most cops use. They use a 9mm Glock 19. That is the normal weapon of a police officer. And so yeah, and then okay, so let's also talk about shotguns. They're never brought up in gun control. I may be wrong on that, but I know I have never seen anything about a gun control argument that has ever said anything about a shotgun. A shotgun can blow someone to bits. It is probably the most damaging weapon you will ever see. Even though it's a very up-close weapon, think about it in a building, it would be awful. I'm not saying they should be taken away at all. They're really unreliable because they're really hard to control. You gotta think, a 12 gauge, an untrained shooter, pow, kicks them like a mule. It's awful. Shooting a gun for the first time, it will hurt. It is awful. Except if you're shooting the AR-15. Actually, that gun has very little kick, and it is decently easy to control, which is why it's also one of the #1 self-defense weapons. And also, here is another statistic about gun control. Hold up, where is it? The FBI states that around 2.5 million crimes are deterred every single year by gun owners. Or just by guns in general. They could be illegal guns. I mean, obviously, most of the time it's probably not going to be an illegal gun. Because why would you report that, obviously? And yeah. And the only thing I don't agree with right now in our gun control policy is the fact that Trump rolled back Obama's lock on mental illness and how people with mental illnesses can now buy a gun. That is the only thing I do not agree with. because I do not believe that people not in the right mind should be able to buy a gun. It's kind of ridiculous. And okay, here's my last point. If you don't know any information about a gun, if you've never shot a gun, if you've never owned, operated a gun, please do not tell me how to use my gun. Please do not tell me if I should have my gun, because it's our Second Amendment right, and I believe strongly in it. So please, never tell me that I should not own a gun. It is, our founding fathers wanted us to do that, and people always bring up that it was for the well-regulated militia. Well, our population is the well-regulated militia. Most people with that own guns, they know how to use them. And if it ever comes to it, most gun owners will lay down for their country, because that's what we believe in, and we believe in fighting for every single thing that our country stands for. Thank you for letting me do my policy speech on gun control. Thank you. Hope y'all enjoyed. Hope y'all got some information out of it. Hope y'all learned a few things, and hopefully I changed your stance on gun control. Thank you very much.